Hello, welcome. This is going to be a 30 to 40 minute video describing how to use an application for Windows called SQLIte-OLE. It's something available from www.plodware.com. It's based on the SQL database engine from SQLite. That's an online team that make available a public domain software package. I've taken their software, put it inside my own script interpreter. The advantage of doing this is the script interpreter provides me access using automation techniques. Actually, it's using the OLE Microsoft technology, so that I can control third-party applications or Microsoft applications, anything that is OLE server compliant. The key features are that this is a Windows 7/Windows 10 application. It's a GUI shell around the SQLite database engine. By GUI shell, I mean that I've provided a few input windows and output windows so that you can navigate through a database or work on a database a little bit more comfortable than with a simple command line interpreter. To help you do that, there's a scripting language broadly based on Visual Basic for applications. This scripting language provides access to OLE compatible servers so that we can control or talk to other applications. I'll show you an example right at the end of this little video. I can exchange data between the SQLite environment and, let's say, Excel using OLE commands. I can't write and read Excel files. I haven't got around to that. I actually talk directly to Excel. I can read and write the comma separated value format files. The script interpreter provides a sort of subroutine and function capability. And what is nice about this thing is that it doesn't need any installation. In terms of techie talk, it's a single executable file. It's less than 3 megabytes. As I said, it uses the SQLite database engine, actually the engine from the amalgamation package 3.07.17. Not the most up-to-date, but it's one I like for various reasons. This package is written in plain C. It's then been embedded, if you like, into my Forth-like interpreter that I started writing 29 years ago. This Forth-like interpreter is also written in plain C and compiled for a 64-bit environment. The Forth-like interpreter is substantially extended over standard Forth, and it's got GUI elements so I can handle windows, mouse clicks, pop-ups, buttons, list views, the usual sort of GUI-related component. The SQLite-OLE application is written in this Forth-like language, and when I'm happy with the current version, then I take the source file, the SQLite-OLE source file, which is simple text. I compact it, throw out all the white spaces and comments. Then I encode it, and then I embed this compacted encoded text into the actual Forth-like executable. So when you run SQLite-OLE, it's totally interpretive. It's interpreted into the Forth-like language, and then it's interpreted down to the Forth-like underlying virtual machine. Well, that's the techie talk. Let's go get a copy. I've prepared a browser which will take us straight off to plodware.com, where we can find the executable. Here is the browser results. And I've prepared two explorers. One is pointing at the downloads folder where I've created a subdirectory. And that subdirectory, SQLite-OLE, is here and is empty. And when I go into the browser to the SQLite-OLE page, There's some help information. Here's the download link. It'll actually download the executable inside a zip. The zip is about 1.2 megabytes. As I said, it's not very large. Let's download it. And here it is in the downloads directory. I can now close the browser. We won't need it again. I'm now going to unzip the package and place the executable into the empty SQLIte-OLE folder. It could have been called anything. It doesn't have to be in any special folder. It could be in a folder with other things. It doesn't matter. No installation required. Just take a copy of the executable and put it somewhere. So I won't need this browser and this window anymore. I can close it. And there we are. We've now downloaded the application and run it simply by double-clicking. The operating system is thinking. And there's the executable. That's it. You can work your way through. There's the fairly standard file menu, so you can open a database, create a database, save a database. I do find that the whole font size is okay for me, but some people prefer a larger font. So I'm now going to show a little trick how we can get a larger font before we start going any further. So how to change the font size. The trick is you go into the executable and you create a shortcut. Right click on it, properties, right click, create shortcut, and then you edit the shortcut. Right click, properties. What we do is on the target line, we go to the very end and add a backslash and some capital F's. For every capital F, it'll make the font size a point bigger. Let's make it 4 points bigger. Apply. Close. Now when I start the executable through the shortcut, we'll end up with a larger font. Let's try. There we are. This is the original font. And this is the larger one. Just for the purposes of the video, just to make sure that no matter how you're looking at it, you should be able to read it okay, I'll use the larger size font for the rest of this little demonstration. We can now close the original. You can have multiple instances of this program running at the same time. They're fully independent of one another. Now, how to get some help? Well, the easiest way is go to the help menu and you'll find some help information. The help information here tends to be topic related. So if the topic is automation, you'll find something about how to automate PowerPoint, Word, Excel, whatever. Or if you're interested in SQL, just a little bit of help about how to do SQL. If you want a command related help, well, let's have a look at SQL help. Just a list of some of the commands which I like to have the syntax available because I sometimes forget. Let's have a look at automation for Excel. Some examples or help for command lines. So, as I said, there's some topic related help information, or if you really want, we can simply go in and type in help. If we don't give any parameters, it just gives us the minimum help. If you want to know help about a particular command, and there's a sequence of commands to do with the database, and there's a sequence of commands to do with comma separated values. The database commands usually have a DB in the name, and the CSV file, CSV related commands have CSV in the name. So let's have a look at anything with CSV in it. You don't need to give a wildcard, it's automatic. And you can either type enter on the keyboard or just click on this box here. And there you'll get help for a particular command. In this case, the CSV column names, the CSV delim character command, and a few others. This is one big text file. So if you really wanted this information for all of the commands, you just give help with with an empty string. And then you could go in here, do a Control A, Control C, and copy everything and place it into a simple text editor. Not a great deal of help. I'll do it. Text editor, text editor. Here we are, text editor. Control V. There's all the help information. 1,500 lines. Almost 1,600. Okay. So that's how to get some help. Now let's have a look at how to get our hands on a database. Well, I've created one about 2 years ago when I wanted to know the names, or I wanted to put all of the books that we have in the house into a database. We tend to be a somewhat bookish house. We've got now over 1,500 books in the house. At the time it was about 1,300, and this particular database, I called it the ISBN. I can either use the file command and go searching for open a file database, either open it so that changes are done automatically to the file, or I can open a file, bring it into memory, and changes do not get done to the disk unless I specifically save to the disk. I'm lazy. I want to show here a simpler way of doing things. If you've got a file that exists, a database, just drag it and drop it onto the cache OpenDB. It automatically gets the database, opens it, puts it into memory, and it's showing me here that we have in the main database one table, and the table's name is ISBN. I'm going to close this area up a little bit and show you how we can navigate through this database. If I click on any row with a table name in it in this window, then it will automatically open that file and try to display a page of information. A page, by a page I mean this area down here, sometimes called the list view. And let's click left button. It's telling me I've got 1,305 rows which match the criteria. Here's the command that has been given. By clicking on there's a command that's been sent to the SQLIte engine, and it's limited to only showing 10 lines at a time, or 10 rows. This is the page size, and the page size is controlled up here. I like 10, it fits on the screen. 25 would fit as well, I think. Let's put it to 25. Click, and here we have 25 lines on the screen. I want to get that out the way. It's a little bit distracting. No, we'll leave it for now. Push it out the way. Now you can see that there's some funny characters here in this on row 4. Sorry, on the row where the id is 4, the title column has got a question mark in it. This is because when I created the database 2 years ago, I didn't handle UTF-8 character sets properly. I do now, but this database was created then, so it's still got the errors that I introduced 2 years ago. It happened quite a bit. The reason why it's got a question mark is it's a German word with a umlaut in it. We're a bilingual family. About half of the books are English, half are German. And I'd like to find all possible rows which have got this question mark in it. But before I do that, just to show you, I can go to the next page, get the next 25 lines by clicking here. This is page on. I can go to the very end, jump backwards a page, or jump to the very beginning. So I can navigate through a basic table, simply clicking on the table, selecting the page size I want, and navigating with these buttons. What I'd like to do now is limit the navigation to only include rows where this title column has got a question mark in it. Now I'm going to be lazy. If I select a row and then left click in a column, then the column's name will be written here. It's a double left click, title, where title is like a question mark. This is standard SQLite syntax. I now make the where criteria active, and this will now be automatically appended to my select statement. So I'm now going to navigate. I've clicked. I've got the first 25 rows, and you see now that they've all got this funny character in it. I can still navigate. The last row had id 87. If I go forward a page, it finds the next row with this funny character is at 129. And here you can see the query that we've been using. So I've now navigated through a database with a query or without. I can switch the query on or off as I like. Right. Now that we've managed to do a query, let's save it to a CSV file. I'll bring this back. I'm going to save the CSV file into this folder. Let's save the current page. 25 rows, 129, 389. The way to do that is export the current list view to a comma separated values file. I click on here. It'll ask me where do I want to put it. Well, it's on the downloads, SQLite. Let's call this LV for list view, CSV. And hopefully when I click on here now, you'll see the file will be created here. Save. There is LV01 CSV. Let's have a look inside. And there is the comma separated values file based on the current list view. 389, 389, first row 129, 129. Okay, let's close that. Now let's imagine that I want to have this page in its own table. One way of doing it is send the page to a CSV and then reading the CSV back as a table. To read a CSV file as a table, you must have no table with the name myTable. That's the default name that we're going to use now. When we do import a CSV file, it will automatically expect the first row. It'll expect the first row of the file to have the column names, and the table into which the file will be written is automatically the main database dot myTable. Let's double click. And there we are. We've now got myTable. Let's click on it. Let's turn all of this page. Let's make it bigger than it can possibly be. There's our data. If you want to, you can write a query and say, I'd really like to see select. We write queries on this row. Select everything from the table ISBN, where author is like, I'm a great fan of that great gentleman Terry Pratchett, P-R-A-T, Let's see what we can find with that as a query. 66 books. If the information is too much for a page, we can scroll across. Terry Pratchett, Terry Pratchett. I'm going to remove this information from the screen. I'm going to just click on, say, My Table. Right. I did that so that we didn't have any Terry Pratchett information here. And what I'm going to do now is export the results of this query, whatever it may be, and send it. It'll actually do that query, get the results in background, and send it to a CSV file. Export an SQL command. The command must be written here to a CSV file. Click. We'll call it TP for Terry Pratchett. There we are, Terry Pratchett.csv. Double click, lots of information. 67 rows, of which the first one are the column names. So that's saving. I can read it back. But I have to remember my table is the default name. If I try to simply read it back, there'll be an error report saying my table already exists. What I can do is right click, and when I right click on this row, it'll offer me the option of either copying the text to here, because I'm lazy, I'll show you. Copy my table to the where clause, just to show you how it's done. Or I can right click and it'll create a drop command and delete this table. That would be lazy, but I'll do it. And that's the actual command that it's used. And now my table is gone. It's been deleted. Now it's free. I can import into it. I'm going to import, comma, separated values file, Mr. Terry Pratchett. And here is our 66 rows, only displaying 5 at the moment. If you want to display all in one go, put it on a really high figure, but be careful. If you've got a large database and you display everything, it can take quite a while to be displayed. We'll put it to 500, click, and there are the 66 rows. So that's reading and writing a CSV. I could, if I wanted to, send all of this to an Excel file. You notice there is no Excel currently running. I've got 66 rows here. Let's send this current list view to an Excel file. If you don't have Excel on your system, this will not work. This only works if you've got a valid installed version of Excel. It's using OLE techniques, and it's going to read and write through OLE straight into the Excel application. It will not read or write Excel files. The easiest way to do it is simply say, well, export the current list view to Excel. And when I do it, notice down here an Excel JPEG icon should pop up. Current list view to Excel. There's my Excel. Let's open it. Just click, and there are 67 rows, of which the first one is the name of the columns. It's all a little bit ugly. There are Excel commands that you can send to it to tidy it up. And because I'm lazy, I've got one of the commands is built in to what I call the shortcuts. And the shortcut I'm going to use is the Excel cells columns autofit. I can either click on here or type it here. EXL is an internal variable that points at the current Excel that we have linked to. And now we're using standard VBA syntax. Cells columns, auto fit. This is standard VBA Excel. It has nothing whatsoever to do with my program. I simply identify the text and pass it through the OLE interface to Excel and let it do the work. I'm going to click on it and see what happens. You'll notice a change happening up here. Now it's auto-fitted all of the columns. Right, that was how to write to Excel. We can read it back. Let's give it a name. Give the sheet a name. TP Books. Terry Pratchett Books. And simply say import. Now, because it's going to import an Excel file, it will use the current worksheet as the name of the database table. So we'll end up with a table here called TP Books. Import Excel worksheet. There we are, TP Books, 66 rows. Well, that's pretty much all I wanted to show you here, but just out of devilment. I've also got famous last words. I should have a little text file. Yep, here it is. And in this text file, I've prepared a little script. I've taken a copy of it. I'm going to the edit field. I'm going to empty the edit field and Control-C, Control-V, put my little script in here. This is a script to show you how we can get the names of the worksheets of the current Excel. It uses, what have we got? We got TP Books, Sheet 2, Sheet 3. It's not very clever. It creates a local variable called worksheets. It sets up an internal string called free string to be empty, and then it will scan through each worksheet in Excel worksheets. This is standard VBA. It'll then get for that worksheet the name of the worksheet, append it to the free string, and when it's finished, it'll use a message command which will display the free string for us. I'm going to click on execute. There we are. TP Books, Sheet 2, Sheet 3. This is just an example of how I can use OLE to interact with Excel. You can use it with other things as well. I use regularly at work files of over 800,000 lines, over 200 columns, and I'm copying, modifying, formatting in Excel, but I'm doing all of the control from here, from my program, and I also then send the prepared files to the appropriate recipients by automating Outlook. And just for fun at home, here at home, I sometimes automate Windows Media Player from here. It can do lots and lots of other things, but that should be enough for now. We've done some playing around. We've done a basic introduction. To finish off, how to save what you've got. Well, this shows me it's memory only. This is the file name where I've got it from. I'm going to save it with a new name. Here I will go to File, Save As. I'll put it in this folder again, and we'll call it demo.db3. Save. And now when I get my hands on that little, there is demo.db3. It's a file, not very big, 225 kilobytes, and we can now close everything down. You can close it through the exit, you can close the database and now open another one, or you can exit the program. Let's tidy up. It automatically, when Excel shuts down, it releases all the variables, and one of the things that will do is automatically tell Excel, we have no link to you, what do you want to do? And it's saying, do you want to save or not? No, we won't bother. Shut down there. There you are. That was a demonstration of the SQLIte-OLE program. My thanks, as always, to the SQLite people for their truly brilliant little database engine. As I said, you can get it from PlodWare.com. There are a few other applications there as well. I've been programming since very early in the 1970s when I started programming at school in the extreme southwest of Wales, in a little town called Tenby. The 70s and 80s, I spent a lot of time programming professionally. I've been programming a lot since then, but I was sort of mad rush of youth. Now I'm a little bit older and I tend to just plod along. I hope you've enjoyed this little video. That's all from me, and maybe we'll meet again on another demonstration. Thank you.